क्षमतामपराधिजनं खलुषायुतशक्तसुदीननरं सुपथे परिचालय सर्वदिनं प्रणमामि च माधव देवपदं वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ग्रंथेर आरंभे करि मंगलाचरण गुरु वैष्णव भगवान तिनेर स्मरण तीनेर स्मरणे है विघ्न विनाशन अनायासे है निज वांछित पूरण। So today is a very auspicious day. One is the appearance of Sri Ramanujacharya, the proponent of Sri Sampradaya, and also one of the prominent Gaudiya Acharyas and disciples of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Prabhupada. His name is Sri Srimad Bhakti Hriday Vana Goswami Maharaj. It is also his appearance today. So I think we will try to read about Vana Goswami Maharaj today, and then we want to hear a few glories of Ramanujacharya tomorrow in English. Today I spoke in Hindi, but the life of Ramanujacharya is so inspiring, and there are so many incidents that are very inspiring to all those who are aspiring to perform devotion. So we will also hear about some of the pastimes of Sri Ramanujacharya tomorrow. But today we will hear about Sri Bhakti Hriday Vana Goswami Maharaj, whom almost everyone in Gaudiya lineage knows him, because he was the one who has preached in the Western countries, and then he became successful. He also brought few foreign disciples to Srila Prabhupada, and he had established a mission in London. He had propagated in Germany. So he is the one who has actually taken the message of Srila Prabhupada to Western countries, or to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Western countries. Of course, along with him were also Goswami Maharaj was there, Bhakti Pradeep Tirtha Maharaj was there, and he himself was also there. So, but he was one of those leading preachers of Krishna Bhakti and the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Western countries. He was the one who was initiated, and of course A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, his contribution is not to be forgotten. So we will read from our most revered Bharati Maharaj. He has compiled this, this is compiled out of his lectures. He used to speak about various acharyas. I remember when he used to come in Pune, those days, I was working in Pune, and then we used to invite Maharaj to give his association to us. We said that we cannot come and stay for 15 days, 20 days in the mud because we are working, but if you can kindly come and stay. We will get 1 month association. So we just exploited the opportunities. So he used to mercifully come. So if there were any appearance or disappearance anniversaries during that particular period, Maharaj used to speak about those personalities, and then his memory, of course, was very very sharp, and he could remember so many incidents. So he used to speak all those things. So some of his disciples and those who were very close to him, they had noted down all those things, and then they have made it available for all the English speaking persons, as well as I think now it's available for Hindi speaking persons also. So we will read from his My Beloved Master's book. It's there in Swaparshad Prabhupada also, but I thought I have this book also. Let me read some incidences from this book also. So Srila Bhakti Hriday Van Goswami Maharaj, he was Sri Narendranath Bandopadhyaya. His father named him Narendranath Bandopadhyaya, and his father was a very very renowned acharya of that time in Dhaka, near Dhaka. It's not exactly in Dhaka, but near Dhaka was the residential place, the present day Bangladesh. So one time his father, he fell ill, and then he was advised to be taken to the Dhaka hospital. So Narendranath, means Van Goswami Maharaj, was the youngest of all the sons. He, along with his sister, were supposed to take, and mother, all three of them were supposed to take care of his service. So Van Goswami Maharaj, as Narendranath now, from childhood itself he has affinity towards God consciousness, devotion to Lord, and a special love, attachment towards the sadhus. Right from his childhood this was seen, and with the progress in time, this desire of him to associate with the sadhus or to become a sadhu himself is only increasing. So when in Dhaka, he got an opportunity to visit Sri Madhva Gaudiya Math. He came to know about its presence there through one lady who was a deputy magistrate's daughter, in whose house they were staying. So through her, he came to know that there is Madhva Gaudiya Math in Dhaka. So he happened to go and visit that Madhva Gaudiya Math, and then that is where he learnt about Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was not there, the Math in charge. He spoke about Prabhupada, and then he asked Prabhupada's whereabouts. So he was told that Prabhupada is there in Calcutta. If he goes there, he will meet him. By the divine arrangement of the Lord, meanwhile, his father got discharged, and the doctors told that his father can be taken to his own house, but he has prescribed a medicine. That medicine needs to be procured from Calcutta. So Ban Maharaj told that I shall take the responsibility of bringing the medicine from Calcutta. You please go to the house. I shall make arrangements to send the medicine. So he went to Calcutta, but the principal purpose was to meet Srila Prabhupada. So he waited in Ultadanga Math, where Prabhupada was supposed to be there, but he was not there when he visited there. He had shown the letter, the identity that was given by the two brahmacharis there in Madhva Gaudiya Math. He has shown it to Sundarananda Vidyanand Vinod Prabhu, and then also Kunja Bihari Vidyabhushan Prabhu, who were present at Ultadanga Road. And then they asked her, you stay here, in the next couple of days Prabhupada is coming, and then you will have his darshan. So here Maharaj writes here that after coming to Calcutta, after seeing Prabhupada in particular, his desire to not go back to the family life has become very very strong. Therefore, he procured the medicine and sent it to his house by some means, but he himself did not go back to the math. He did not go back to the house. He stayed with Prabhupada. So in the first meeting of Prabhupada, In his first meeting, Prabhupada was also impressed by seeing him, by seeing his, interest to hear Harikatha, and by seeing the extraordinary personality of Prabhupada, even he got attracted, and he wanted to constantly hear Harikatha from him. So Prabhupada, he spoke Harikatha, and after he spoke, Harikatha for some time, he told that now you go and if possible, write a treatise, small paragraph of few lines of what you have understood from what you heard. Within a very, very short time, within an hour or so, he has assimilated all that he has heard. Then he had given a very nice treatise, written so nicely, as in the form of an article, and then he showed it to Prabhupada. Prabhupada was so impressed that in the very first hearing of Harikatha, he could grasp the actual content of the subject so easily. Because when we hear, we commit mistakes, particularly when we are hearing for the first time. So many things get evaporated out of our head. We will not be able to understand what was told. But in his very first listening of Harikatha, because his intelligence and his absorption power was so strong that once he heard it, he can retain it. So he presented it to Prabhupada. Prabhupada was very much impressed, and then he told that immediately this should be printed in the weekly Gaudiya magazine. So here it is given, it is printed in the second year 48th issue, that is on the 26th of July 1924. This publication of this particular article was made in Gaudiya magazine, and he named it as Atmiya K, who is our own. We think all those persons that are related with us through body, they are to be our own. But here, Atmiya, he considered Atma, those who are related on the Atma platform. Actually, they are ours. So it is written so nicely, and Prabhupada was impressed, and then he was given the Diksha. Harinam Diksha was offered to him, and then since then he had exemplified in serving Sri Guru. Then in 1925, on the Vishnupriya Devi's appearance day, Srila Prabhupada had started the Gaudamandal Parikrama. This was initiated by Srila Prabhupada. This was the desire of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that annual Navadvip Parikrama and Vrindavan Parikrama should be there. So this was the vision of Prabhupada, of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that Prabhupada brought into, materialized it. So in 1925, the first commencement of Gaudamandal Parikrama has happened, and then he was now Nandasunu Brahmachari. After he got Diksha from Srila Prabhupada, he became Nandasunu Brahmachari. So Prabhupada had given him the so many services to be performed during this, and then he used to perform all of them to perfection. And in the year 1925, in the same year, in the month of September, he was given sannyas so quickly. I think within 1 or 2 years of his joining the ashram, because he was a very, very scholarly person. He was 24 by then. So very scholarly, and his Medha Shakti, means his retaining power, absorption power is so strong, and he had the ability to understand what Prabhupada was telling. So in a very, very short span of time, he got his sannyas, and he was named Sri Bhakti Hriday Vana Goswami Maharaj. And Prabhupada, wherever he had initiated the spiritual exhibitions, dioramas, there Vana Goswami Maharaj was sent, because Vana Goswami Maharaj could present the dioramas or the exhibitions so expertly that the pilgrimages, they would get attracted to it. So one such thing has happened in Kurukshetra also. Prabhupada wanted to have it in Kurukshetra during solar eclipse. At that time, Prabhupada called him that previously you have done at several places like Mayapur, Calcutta, Dhaka, Patna, several places you have done the exhibitions. Now I want you to do in Kurukshetra also, and show to the all the pilgrimages, means during solar eclipse, even today people go there to take bath. There is a Brahma Kunda there. In Brahma Kunda, even today people go there to take bath, because that happened in the time in Dwapar Yuga. Krishna himself went there to perform a great, a great event was organized there. So, Prabhupada called Ban Goswami Maharaj and told that you should organize a exhibition there, so that whoever come there, they understand the importance of Kurukshetra. So he has presented so many dioramas of exhibits of the Brajavasis discussing with each other how they have come to Kurukshetra, how they met Krishna, and how they were, they wanted Krishna to go to Vrindavana. So all these various pastimes that have happened in Kurukshetra, all these things were depicted so nicely. And also ultimately he has also shown how Mahaprabhu's mood of pulling Ratha is also beginning from Kurukshetra. All the Brajavasis want to pull Krishna towards Vrindavan, so that is the mood in which Mahaprabhu had pulled Jagannath's Ratha towards Gundicha. And then how Rupa Goswami also has understood the internal mood of Mahaprabhu. All these things were presented through various exhibits. So that exhibition in Kurukshetra became a great success, and many persons could appreciate and understand what is the true significance of Kurukshetra. And that is why, the spiritual exhibits, Pradarshani is called, Adhyatmik Pradarshani, these are very, very essential for those who are, the newer generation is coming. So slowly the knowledge is getting lost. Therefore, who are in the line of Krishna Bhakti, it's their responsibility to retain all this. So anyway, in this manner, Prabhupada had such a faith on Srila Bhakti Hriday Ban Goswami Maharaj that whenever there was an exhibition, he used to call him, because he was very expert in all those. And also, Prabhupada, seeing his expert nature in speaking in various languages, he could speak Bengali, Hindi and English so prolifically that when he spoke one language, he would speak everything in that language only. He would not mix words. Like when we speak Bengali or Hindi, we try to mix English words or some other language words. Now we are learning Bengali, even in Hindi we bring Bengali words. But when he spoke Bengali, he would speak only Bengali. When he spoke Hindi, he would speak only Hindi. And he speaks English, he speaks only English. So he was a very, very prolific speaker, and he used to speak for hours together. So Prabhupada awarded him the title Vagmi Pravar. Vagmi means speaker, Pravara means expert. He is an expert speaker, or greatest of the orators. So in this manner. So, and he has of course served Prabhupada with total enthusiasm and complete fearlessness. Now, one time Prabhupada was thinking that I want to send some of my preachers to Western countries. Whom should I send? And where to send first? So he was thinking like this. At that time, Rabindranath Tagore had recently returned after winning his Nobel Prize in a foreign land. He has received the Nobel Prize and then he is coming back. So Prabhupada visited Rabindranath Tagore. And then he asked, I want to actually send some persons to Western countries for preaching. So what is your opinion? Which place to send first? Whether Germany or England? Where should I send first? So Rabindranath Tagore directly said, don't send any persons there. Because the activities of the people there, when there are so many persons, saints who have come from India to that place, but their behavior, their activities were not impressive. Therefore, the Westerners, the foreigners, they lost faith in Indian saints due to their, behavior and activities. Therefore, don't send anyone there. Then Prabhupada gave a speech to him and explained to him a few things. We will not go into the details of it, but he explained to him about a few devotional doctrines. Then Rabindranath Tagore was so much impressed by Prabhupada's speech that he changed his words. He told that if you go, then preaching is possible. He told that they have no faith in Indian saints, but now after hearing Prabhupada speak like this, he told that if you go, then definitely people will take to this Indian Vedic culture. Then Prabhupada told, even if I don't go, I will send persons as good as me. I will send such persons. So he came back and then he approached our Param Gurudev. He was a brahmachari at the time, Hriday Das Brahmachari, and Srila Bhakti Goswami Maharaj. Bhakti Goswami Maharaj and our Param Gurudev were approached. And Param Gurudev was little apprehensive to go because he didn't want to leave the company of Prabhupada. He wanted to stay with Prabhupada. He wanted to go on preaching with him, and then he wanted to be directly serving Prabhupada with him. And he was thinking that if I go abroad and if Prabhupada were to leave the planet, I will miss him. So he was apprehensive to go, but it's Prabhupada's order, so he had to go. So he had no complaints, but his inner desire was that if I can stay with Prabhupada, it will be nice. Meanwhile, one devotee by the name Rajarshi Saradindu Roy, he suggested Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, you see, Videshi, the foreign devotees, the foreigners, there is a lot of wealth there, so much of beauty is there. And Hriday Das Brahmachari is very, very young. He is very young, very charming personality, beautiful, very tall figure, handsome figure. So the foreign women, they may try to, trap him, or they may, it is not good to send such young brahmacharis, particularly those who are such handsome, to Western countries. Then Prabhupada also understood that his advice is not to be outright rejected. So then he approached Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Goswami Maharaj. So Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Goswami Maharaj was sent in place of our Param Gurudev. So in this manner, Bhakti Pradip Tirtha Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhakti Goswami Maharaj, they travelled to the Western countries. So another incident that is written here is that Prabhupada, one time he asked Kunjabihari Vidyabhushan Prabhu that you please bring nice shoes for Vana Maharaj. He has to wear shoes. He has to go to foreign countries. Therefore, there, like a monk, represent like a monk, then they may not be able to accept the message. The idea is to give the message. The idea is not to, seeing the robes of a sannyasi, they may get out they are some alien people. So the message is, the objective is to give the message to them. Therefore, Prabhupada told that please bring shoes for Vana Maharaj. So Maharaj writes here that he has, Kunjabihari Vidyabhushan Prabhu has purchased shoes, nice shoes for 32 rupees. Maharaj writes the amount also because he has very sharp memory. 32 rupees in those days, 1930s, almost 100 years ago. 32 rupees is something like, these days easily 20,000 or, something like that, 20,000 rupees easily. Means very nice shoes were purchased. So, as soon as these shoes were brought to him and Prabhupada told that you please wear it, Srila Bhakti Goswami Maharaj did not think a second to wear it. He told that I am a sannyasi, how can I wear? No. Prabhupada told that you wear them, and then he immediately wore them. And then Prabhupada says, today you have renounced even renunciation for the service of your Guru. Prabhupada appreciates that we are not followers or we are not exploiters nor renouncers. We are one-pointedly dedicated for the service of Guru Vaishnavas, always. So, if one has to accept opulences for the service of Guru Vaishnavas, then that is welcome. If one has to accept some opulences for the service of Hari Guru Vaishnavas, then that is welcome. And if one has to reject opulences, one is greatly opulent, but one has to reject, like Ambarish Maharaj, he rejected everything. Parikshit Maharaj rejected everything. For the service of Hari Guru Vaishnavas, if that is to be renounced, then it is ready. He is ready. So the thing is that we are neither renouncers nor exploiters. We are simply dedicating our life. Therefore, we have no attachment or detachment to any of the worldly objects. This is one of the Prabhupada's final instructions. We have no attachment or detachment to anything in this material world. All the while we should only think that everything is in relation with Krishna. That attachment is required. We are attached with an object or detached with an object thinking that this belongs to Krishna. Therefore our attachment is that this is of Krishna. That is why we have attachment. We are detached because this does not belong to me, the master or the enjoyer is Supreme Lord. So Prabhupada says that today I am very happy. I am seeing the perfection in your renunciation, because you renounced even your desire to renounce for the service of Guru or Sriman Mahaprabhu. So then Srila Bhakti Goswami Maharaj, was to be sent to foreign countries. Then Prabhupada asked him, now it is during one of the conversations, Prabhupada mentioned that I met Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore, he advises that when finally he said that someone like me or like a good preacher can go, then he suggested that first one should go to Germany, because Germany people have some acceptance of Indian Vedic culture, whereas English people, the England, they think that they are the bosses of India, because India was being ruled by England those days. So they think that our slaves are, because they used to treat Indians as the slaves, so it is better to go to Germany first, because there you can propagate easily, whereas in England it's going to be little difficult, because they think the Indians to be slaves and they don't want to accept anything spoken by the slaves. Therefore it's difficult. What do you think? Then Bhakti Goswami Maharaj says, I think it is good to preach where success is a little difficult to achieve. In Germany, if success is easily attained, then one can do any time. But we should go and preach at a place where success is difficult to attain. You see, this is the spirit of the members of Prabhupada's Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Param Gurudev also. In Medinipur, everyone was saying, don't go. He is a very miserly man. He is not going to give you anything. He is not going to give you anything. He will humiliate you. He will not see you as a sadhu also. He will simply humiliate you. Don't go there. Then our Param Gurudev told, to make a good person good is not a sadhu's activity. A person who is bad, if he can be turned into a good person, that is what sadhu is. And what sadhu has, why a sadhu should think about whether he will get, acceptance or rejectance at any place. Whether he will get fame or defame, a sadhu should not worry about it. He may, outright reject me, but I shall not be worried. Sadhu will not think about his personal name and fame. I will go there. So where everyone had rejected means suggested that he should not go, or Param Gurudev told, no, I shall go there, because to make a good person good is not sadhu's activity. To make if one can make a bad person turn bad person to a good person, that is what sadhu is. So these personalities, they always want to take challenges. So we want to take a easy route. Okay, Germany, I want to become successful, isn't it? I want to show to Gurudev or to Vaishnavas that I became very successful. But he told, no, I shall go to Britain or England first. Then Prabhupada also very much appreciated his spirit, his mood. And then first he went to England only. He went to England and then he preached there, and then he went to Germany. In England he preached in Oxford University, Cambridge University, Exeter University. In different universities he has spoken Harikatha. He has written my books names are written here. Yeah, here is there. My first year in England, and also my lectures in England. I had this book, My Lectures in England. I tried to find it. I wanted to read from that book. One of the lectures I wanted to read of Bhakti Goswami, because I had that book for a long time, but I never got an opportunity to open it. I thought that today I will read his lecture so that we will get some message from him. But I don't know. I didn't find the book. I don't know where I put it. I have to find it nicely again. But anyway, so I had this book, actually my lectures in England. I had this book. So anyway, so he spoke at all these universities, and he was not just a success, he was just super excellently accepted by all the universities and so many persons, and they had invited him at other places also. Therefore, he was taken to even Buckingham Palace also to address people there, a royal assembly. So such a big success he brought to the Gaudiya message of Prabhupada. And then he established London Gaudiya Mission Society. And the Secretary of the State of India, Lord Jetland, he himself attended the inaugural ceremony of that particular this thing. He was the chairman of that particular inaugural ceremony. And so many members of affluent members of London High Society, they had come and they took interest in the religion of Indian this thing. And many had started correspondence with Prabhupada also. Many started their correspondence with Prabhupada. And their main topics of discussions were Srila Prabhupada's answers that used to arrive through air mail during those days. So in this manner, Bhakti Goswami Maharaj had preached successfully in England. Then he came to Germany. Now when he came to Germany, there were some political tensions going on in Germany, and they told that if you speak in English, they will not accept it, because there were some political tensions between English and German during those days. So they told that if you speak in English, they will not accept. Either you speak in your native language, somebody will interpret into Germany, or you have to speak in Germany. Only two options. He preferred the second one, to speak in German language. He is simply mind-blowing, He learned German language in 6 months, and then he gave lectures in Germany. Not only he gave lectures in German language, but he wrote 2 books in German language also. After learning German language. Such a scholarly person Bhakti Goswami Maharaj is. And then he had again delivered lectures in various universities like Königsberg, Leipzig, Dresden, Berlin, Munich, all these places. And also he went to Prague, Vienna, Paris, so many other places. He went and delivered lectures. And in 1936 December, he returned back to India, and then so many persons. There is a picture also, I think, in Google. Lakhs and lakhs, means millions of people had gathered together to welcome Bhakti Goswami Maharaj. With a great success, he had returned to India. After preaching there, he had returned to India with great success. 1936, he brought one of the Western disciples. His name is Sripad Sadananda Swami. He became disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So such person who has influenced all those persons and then brought them all the way to India, Bhakti Goswami Maharaj, was such a prolific preacher. And Ban Goswami Maharaj's what do you call, his way of preaching was to preaching to the college students. Now all of us are adopting this particular process of preaching to students, college students. This was actually the idea of Ban Goswami Maharaj. He addressed so many universities, colleges, and where youth are there, because he knew if youth will take this particular movement, then the next generation will become successful automatically, because they are the next generation. So in this manner he targeted, and even today this is what ISKCON and other the Gaudiya organizations, they are all targeting youth, because this is what Srila Ban Goswami Maharaj had vision. So this is how he had propagated. And then he also had visited New York. He went to America 2 times actually. In 1939 he visited first time, and then he went to New York, Boston, Stockbridge, Washington DC, and Philadelphia. He also went to Chicago and Midwest, and then he went to Japan, and then he went to Hong Kong, then he came to India. And in 1960 again he went to West Germany, Austria, Belgium, Holland, Denmark, Sweden, and so many other places. In 1974 and 75 he again visited America. So many times he had travelled across the globe and propagated Krishna Bhakti. And he has also started Oriental, the Institute of Oriental Philosophy in Vrindavan. He has started that. And in Nandagaon, he has opened a school. In Vrindavan, Institute of Oriental Philosophy, and in Nandagram, in Pavan Sarovar, there is a primary school. He has opened on the banks of the Pavan Sarovar. You remember you went there to Pavan Sarovar? There is a school there. And he has also written several books. He wrote about Vaikuntha Pate, means on the path to the Vaikuntha. My first year in England, Viraha Vedana, the pain of separation, Gita as Chaitanya it reads it, Sri Chaitanya, the search, my lectures in England, and the translation of Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu into English. So these are the principal books that he had published, and also published a quarterly magazine, Indian Philosophy and Culture, in this manner. Time is up. There is little more. Here I will just read one more incident that is very heart touching, that I will want to mention here. That he say our Bharti Maharaj writes his personal experience, that one time I went to Vrindavan. In Vrindavan actually he has his bhajan kutir. This bhajan kutir was started by him only. He had he used to sit there, and then he used to perform bhajana there. So he used to not speak with anyone. He used to eat only fruits that fell from the trees, not even pluck that fell from the trees. He would eat only them. He would not talk with anyone. He would not go anywhere. In this manner he had observed very severe austerity, strict austerities, and then he would only chant always. So one time Bharti Maharaj is saying that I went to see him, and then I heard from his disciples that he is very unwell. Therefore I didn't want to disturb him, and then I offered obeisances from outside, and then I was about to leave. Meanwhile Ban Goswami Maharaj came to know that I came there, and then he was very upset for me not meeting him. So he called me inside. He told that why are you leaving without meeting me? He was not very much happy with it. So then Bharti Maharaj said that actually I didn't want to disturb you, because I heard that doctor has asked you not to speak much. Therefore I didn't want to disturb, and I wanted to go back. Then he told, I will read what he has written here. Must I simply lay in bed and count the beams on the ceiling? Am I not to speak with the Vaishnavas? We are Saraswati Putra, the sons of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. As long as we are speaking Harikatha, we feel healthy. It is when we are cheated of this opportunity that we truly feel ill. So, do you want me to be healthy or sick? So, these were his words. that if you want me to be really healthy, I should meet with the devotees. Furthermore, the doctors of this world may prescribe us many instructions for our physical well-being, but we wish to follow the instructions of Sri Guru, the doctor concerned for our spiritual well-being, who mentioned no harm can come to one who properly takes the type of food that nourishes the soul, but one who avoids or takes an inadequate amount of such food, means spiritual topics, and instead concern himself with nourishing only the gross and subtle bodies, invites sickness in the truest sense. Means we have to take the food of the soul for the soul, that is Hari Katha. Singing and listening Krishna Katha is the food for the soul. We should not refrain from this at any moment. Unfortunate is the day that we do not receive the chance to hear or speak Hari Katha, which is the soul sustenance. Nityam Bhagavata Sevya, the daily service of Srimad Bhagavatam, is one of the primary limbs of Bhakti, is what he had instructed. So today is his appearance day. So I think in 1982 he made his disappearance from this material world. So we pray at his feet that may he bestow us strength to serve the lotus feet of Sri Guru and please him, and also whatever offenses we might have committed knowingly or unknowingly, may he free us from all those sins and engage us eternally in the service of his dearmost object of worship. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गांधर्विका गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन पंचतत्वात्मक श्री गौर हरि की जय। परमाराधितम पतित पावन स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति वल्लभ तीर्थ गोस्वामी श्री गुरु महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति दयित माधव गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। जगत गुरु श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी ठाकुर प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री श्री रूपानुग गुरुवर्ग की जय। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि श्री गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। सर्व विघ्न विनाशनकारी भक्तवत्सल भगवान श्री सिंह देव की जय। भक्त प्रवर श्री प्रहलाद महाराज की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। जय श्री रामानुजाचार्य शुभ आविर्भाव तिथि पूजा की जय। जय श्री नित्य लीला प्रविष्ट होम विष्णुपाद स्तोत्र सत श्री श्रीमद भक्ति हृदय बन गोस्वामी महाराज शुभ आविर्भाव तिथि पूजा की जय। समागत हरि कथा श्रवण करि भक्त वृंद की जय। हिताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।